Hey guys, my name is Keely and I am from the YouTube channel Mermaid Keely, and if you're here then you probably love Harry Potter as much as I do. So today we are going to be talking about one of the big topics in the Harry Potter world, which is things that were in the Harry Potter books that we really wish were in the movies. I talk about this all the time when people come up to me and they're like, oh, I love Harry Potter, but like I don't want to read the books. I just start going off. I'm like, you're missing this, like you're missing all the important parts. So we're just gonna go through and talk about some of our favorite Harry Potter book moments that didn't make it onto the screen. So let's get on into it. The first one we're gonna talk about is my favorite thing that's in the books that didn't make it into the movies, and it's one of my favorite things in the entire series, and that is the background of the Marauders and how they were formed. So that is Padfoot, Prongs, Moony, and Wormtail, and I just really love their story because, first of all, we don't even see this in the movie about Animagus. Like, nobody knows what they are, but I love this story so much because obviously Remus Lupin is a werewolf, and the Marauders, his best friends, were like, you know what, we're gonna become illegal animagus and we're gonna learn how to transform into animals just so whenever you turn into a werewolf, you're not alone. Okay, friendship goals, am I right? So I just, okay, so when the Marauders are first introduced in the movie, you just see the map and it's not really even explained who they are, that they're Harry's father and his friends. Like, that's completely missed in the whole movie, so no one knows that, let alone the background, which is the best part because I love their friendship so much, and we all want a Marauders movie, which would be incredible. So I just really love the story of how they all learned how to transform into animals just so Remus wouldn't be alone on a full moon, which is so touching, and I just love that friendship so much, and it just makes the characters of Remus and Sirius even better because of that bond. I just love it so much. The second one I want to talk about is the obvious one, and that is Peeves the Poltergeist, the trickster, the one that ruins Filch's life on the constant every day. I just love his scenes so much in the books because he's always up to so much mischief, and he's just like that comic relief. And does anyone really like Filch? So Peeves is great because he always just messes things up. I also really love this scene. One of my favorite Peeves scenes is in Order of the Phoenix when the twins decide to leave school grounds and just leave Hogwarts, and Peeves is the one that helps them out, which is not mentioned in the movies at all because Peeves isn't in the movies at all. Apparently his scene was filmed in the first movie, but they cut it out, which I don't understand why, because Peeves is one of the most talked about ghosts or poltergeists in the books, so I don't know why he wouldn't be in there. But that's just one of my favorite scenes, is the trickster poltergeist helps out the trickster Weasley twins and helps them escape and one-up Umbridge, and it's a great time. Another scene that was relatively important in the books because it had its entirely own chapter is the death day party for Nearly Headless Nick. I loved the scene so much because you got to see more of the ghosts, and it was really interesting to see like all of the nasty food that they had. And also really interesting is live people showed up. Like Harry, Hermione, and Ron were literally invited to the death day party where humans don't normally go to. So it was really cool to see humans interact with the ghosts, and I also really love Nearly Headless Nick. He is hilarious, he's a great character, I love him so much, and I just love how he took these people, like these kids in, he took Harry, Ron, and Hermione in, and he just really wanted them there because it was such a special day for him, and I love the bond that that chapter showed, and I really wish it had been in the movies because then we could have seen more of the ghosts because they're such a big part of the story and we rarely see them in the movies. Another one that I absolutely love that hardly anyone ever talks about is in Goblet of Fire when Ludo Bagman is giving the prize money for the Triwizard Tournament, and because Harry wins, he gets this gold and he doesn't want it, so he decides to give it to Fred and George, which they then use to start their joke shop, which is incredible. I just love that so much, and it's so sad that it's not in the movies because it doesn't really tell you like how they were able to afford this, because, you know, the Weasleys are known for not having a lot of money. So I really like that story of how Harry's just so selfless and he counts them as his family. So he's willing to give this gold because he doesn't need it and he wants to help Fred and George start their dream. So they start this joke shop because Harry gave him the prize money from the Triwizard Tournament, which I think was such a simple, small thing that could have easily been added into the movies. Another huge one that wasn't really mentioned in the movies is the fact that Neville could have possibly been the chosen one. This whole story could have been changed completely if it was Neville instead, because in the prophecy it just mentions someone that was born at the end of July, and so it could have been Harry or it could have been Neville, but because Voldemort decided to go after Harry, he became the chosen one. So in the books it describes how the prophecy literally doesn't tell you in detail who it's about, if it's about Harry or Neville. It just says end of July. So Voldemort took a guess, and so I thought that was really interesting and just a detail that they didn't add into the movies, and I really appreciate that. That's one of those things that I also really love telling people, and I'm like, you know, Neville also could have been the chosen one. Like, he was a candidate for it. It could have been a completely different story, but that one is also really interesting for me because in the end, Neville is one of the ultimate heroes and he does help out a lot, and it just shows that he's like his chosen one in his own kind of way. I love Neville so much and I just really love that little detail. Another one I thought was really interesting and is kind of surprising that it's not in the movies is the whole background on the Horcruxes, like why the ring was used and stuff like that, and also the fact that Voldemort can't love because he was conceived in a loveless union because his mom got with a Muggle man and they didn't love each other. And so I thought that was interesting. That's in the book, and it specifically says like Voldemort can't love because here's the reason why. And in the movies you clearly see that Voldemort is incapable of loving, but it doesn't tell you why, and it doesn't go into his background, which I really would have loved to see more of Voldemort's background because I love Tom Riddle, not Voldemort, I love Tom Riddle, and so I think it would be really cool to see like why the ring was important and how he got it, because it does go into detail in the books. So I think that is a really important thing, and the Horcruxes are also really interesting, so that would definitely have been something that would have been really cool to delve deeper into. Another one that makes me actually kind of angry that it's not in the movies is Lupin and Tonks' relationship and their son Teddy. That is one of my all-time favorite stories, so I have a lot to say about that. So in the books, you know, they're thinking about getting married and they're gonna have this kid, but Lupin decides, I don't want to get married to you, I don't want to have kids, because he is a werewolf and he feels like he can't be a competent husband or father because of this. And so Lupin and Tonks actually get into a fight because Lupin doesn't think that he's good enough for Tonks, but thankfully they worked it out because Lupin and Tonks are some of my favorite characters and one of my favorite couples. But I just thought he's so selfless because he was just thinking, I want this, but I don't want to hurt my family. And then another thing is Teddy. Oh my gosh, their son Teddy. I am so angry that they didn't put the beautiful scene of Harry being asked to be the Godfather in the movie. So I really like how this correlates because Lupin asked Harry to be Teddy's godfather, and in the end Teddy becomes an orphan just like Harry, and so it resembles very, very much Sirius and Harry's relationship and how he was the godfather and stuff like that. And I really think that it would have been so interesting to see Harry's relationship with them being a godfather and just seeing Teddy, how he was with Teddy. Like, Teddy was like not even in the movie, which makes me so angry because that was such a touching moment, how Harry was his godfather and he was so close to Lupin and Tonks, and we didn't get to see their characters that much in the movie and didn't get to dive into them as much as the book does, which is so sad because they're such great characters. So those are some of the things that were in the books that I wish had made it into the Harry Potter movies. Comment down below if you have some that I didn't talk about, or maybe I talked about some and you just want to talk more about it. There are so many, but nothing against the movies. I love the Harry Potter movies so much. There's just so much in the books that I wish were in the movies, but then the movies would be like hours and hours long, which is not a problem at all. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and Harry Xmas to you. Bye!